You're listening to Dispatch Radio, sponsored by theglobaldispatch.com.
They've made me feel like a prisoner. They've made me feel set free. They've made me feel like a criminal. Made me feel like a king.
Welcome back to Dispatch Radio. This is Brandon Jones and Robert Harriman, brought to you by theglobaldispatch.com. We're going to change gears from the heavy abortion talk, but if you still like to call in with your opinion on the ad on abortion or the pro-life ad that was basically turned down by newspapers, the numbers to call in are 727-441-3000. It's toll-free at 866-826-1340. We're going to shift gears and go to some international stuff. I tell you what, there's some shocking violence going on in Brazil. You brought it to my attention. I had not heard of this, and we're kind of connected in the news, so for you to find something this big, I was just shocked. So I'm just going to go right to you, let you even describe the heinous activity that's going on in Brazil.
Yeah, Brandon, this is just horrendous. And let me just preface the story real quickly that Brazil will be hosting the World Cup next year, and they will be hosting the Olympics in 2016. Well, apparently there was a local soccer game in a small town in Brazil, and the referee was going to toss out one of the players. A fight between the two ensued. The referees in Brazil apparently carry knives because the ref pulled out a knife and stabbed the man to death. Well, this didn't sit well with the spectators at the game, who rushed the field, killed the referee, cut off his head, dismembered him, and put his head on a stake in the middle of the soccer field. Does it get any worse than that?
We were critical of terrorists for less. I mean, this is a soccer game. I'm sorry, soccer fans. You're going to have to really explain to me why a soccer game, even if a fan is upset over a player being ejected, needs to result in violence, dismemberment. Are you kidding me? Unfortunately, that's not all that happened in Brazil.
No. There was a prominent rapper down there called MC Deleste, and he was performing in a little town outside of Sao Paulo, and there's actually videos of all this stuff I'm talking about too, and it's warning, and they're very, very gruesome, very, very gory. But he was in the middle of a rap in front of about 3,000 people. This is caught on YouTube, and about a minute into the song, you hear a gunshot, and down he went.
Right in the live show.
Right there.
And we have video.
Yeah, there's video.
Wow.
And it's just sad, and it just makes you wonder.
Well, I tell you what, Brazil's not really been on our radar screen for violence, and for you to have such two incredible examples, and then as you pointed out too, with having two major events coming up, people need to be aware at least a little bit about what's going on there, and being safe and smart about what's going on there. So, well, let's shift gears to some more violence. We got to give some kudos to our Congress, because at least they have acknowledged a problem in Syria.
Amen. They sure did. Looks like our lawmakers have blocked the military aid that's going that would be coming out of the United States for the rebels, out of fears that the Al-Qaeda affiliated group known as Al-Nusra Front doesn't get their hands on these weapons. And we kind of discussed this last week. Very similar story that went on in the 80s with the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. So hats off to the Congress.
Yeah, well, let me give one of the quotes here to Ruppersberger. He is one of the representatives in the House Intelligence Committee. He says, if we're going to arm, we have to make sure we have control of what arms are out there and how people are trained to use those arms so they don't fall into the hands of our enemy, Al-Qaeda. I don't even care about the Al-Qaeda factor at this point when we have video. We discussed this last week, but there's videos of them engaging in violent activity, executing people, executing prisoners and those kinds of things. We talked about this, and I will go back to the lesser of two evils is still evil.
Yeah, that's true.
And each one of these conflicts continue to give us worse and worse options. We're seeing that with Egypt and then Libya. Now we're in Syria. Then now Egypt's on fire again. So it's just a vicious cycle. And I'm hopeful that we can sort of get out of some of this stuff. So Again, at the bottom of the hour, we have a Lyme disease expert coming on. I guess there's a major legislation that had happened in Maine, so we're going to have her on. Her name is Constance Dickey. Correct? I got that right?
That's right.
Okay. So before we get to that, I want to give you a chance to throw out another story. I know we were talking about the Pepsi story a little bit. So if we have time here, I think we can squeeze that in, and we can discuss the interesting Pepsi headlines of the week.
Yeah, I've known Brandon for a few years, and I've been around for a while, and I don't think I know anybody that drinks as much Pepsi as he does. And he posted a story about Pepsi earlier in the week, and I have to ask, do we have to start checking you for tumors?
I'm thinking that it may be necessary based on the news story. If you didn't see any headlines this week, poor Pepsi, not any other soda brand, and just to be completely transparent here, I don't drink just Pepsi. I do drink Coke products and such. But it does say, and almost every headline had to do with, quote, Pepsi will give you cancer. You drink Pepsi, you're going to get cancer. We can go to all sorts of different sources. What was my favorite? Pepsi, cancer for a new generation. Wow. Unfortunately, that's not the whole story. It just is a nice hyperbole of what really is the facts of the story. How should we elaborate, Bob?
Oh, it sounds like an advertisement. I mean, that's what it sounds like.
All right, so unfortunately, there's a chemical in there that they can isolate this chemical, and it is a carcinogen. However, there's contradictory data from the FDA, and you start to correlate the data, you find that you would have to drink 1,000 cans of soda per day to be at risk of this chemical even affecting you remotely.
Yeah, I took a look at this press release from this environmental agency in California last night, who was heavily involved in this, and they were praising Coke. I guess about a year ago, this is when they made this discovery of Pepsi and Coke using this chemical for the caramel coloring, and Coke has taken it out of their products. Pepsi hasn't, so Pepsi's on the firing line right now.
I tell you, I drink a lot of soda, but 1,000 cans, I'm probably going to have a lot more problems before the cancer kicks in. So the diabetic shock and my diabetes is probably going to be out of control and everything else. So yeah. You may need to check me for other things before we get to the tumor analysis. So, all right, well, we're going to stop there for a moment. We're going to take a very quick little breather just to get our heads together. When we come back, we're going to have Miss Constance, calls by Happy. She's a Lyme disease expert out of Maine. She's going to help us understand what the legislation change was that happened there.
God, your voice is the only thing we need.
There's a great youth mentorship program in the greater Tampa Bay area. Mission Flight United is a non-profit organization which reaches out to kids, especially teens, who love aviation and want to fly. Whether they have an interest in helicopters, fixed-wing airplanes, or aviation mechanics, Mission Flight United offers education, flight simulation, and great life application skills to help in all of these areas. For more information on their weekly classes or to make a tax-deductible donation, contact the instructor Dana Walker at 207-233-0669. With every $50 donation, you get a 1-hour demonstration and can schedule a flight with Dana to see for yourself what Mission Flight United has to offer. Again, call Dana at 207-233-0669 or simply Google Mission Flight United.
This is Brandon from Dispatch Radio, and I want to tell you about my friends over at Stout Auto. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't stand car repair shops. I hate hearing about all the things that are wrong with my car. Even if they're true, I just want my oil changed. Now, the only thing worse than car repair is having to take it back again when it breaks down for what I just had done the first time. Now, recently, I had some work done on my mother-in-law's car. Spent a pretty penny, only to have the same thing start all over again. Now, this person may have meant well, and I don't really have any ill will, but I learned a valuable lesson, that I can trust Jody and his team over at Stout Auto. Not only did they fix everything, explain what else needed to be done, they did it in a professional manner with estimates that I could understand, and I left feeling that my daughter, if she took her car in there for an oil change, wouldn't come home with a $600 bill. One trip, one good repair, I didn't have to go back. Now, They've been in business in Clearwater for over 4 years. 18300 US 19 North. It's in Clearwater at 727-216-6622. Now they have a new location that's off Belcher at 1801 Belcher Road, just 1 block north of Ulmerton. Give them a call. That's 727-400-6955. 2 locations, going to do you right, get you in and out. Tell them the Global Dispatch sent you.